The Supreme Court has hit out at the BCCI Chief, issuing a statement while hearing the IPL spot fixing case. The Supreme Court observed, and I quote from that now, in our opinion, Srinivasan should step down in order to for fair investigation. Let's go across to our consulting editor Boria Majumdar to understand this more. Boria, the Supreme Court finally saying that Srinivasan should step aside, a huge blow for the cricket strongman.
It's a massive blow, and this is coming from the judiciary, it's not from the media. Pending fair investigation, Simi, means two things here. One, the Supreme Court is actually also saying that a fair investigation needs to be conducted into the IPL. Which means, what kind of fair investigation are we talking about? We are actually talking about a fair investigation into spot fixing and match fixing. And the Supreme Court is pretty much clear that BCCI President Narayan-Swamy Srinivasan needs to step down for a fair investigation to happen. The difference here is it is not about stepping aside. The most important factor here is that it is coming from the highest judiciary of the land, and now we need to wait and see how the BCCI reacts to this.
Srinivasan must step down. That's the clear indication, the clear order that is coming from the Supreme Court. All eyes were on the Apex Court today as it heard the Mudgal panel report.
All right, let's get in a word from our correspondent Rasesh Mandani, who's joining us live this morning. Rasesh, what details do you have with you?
Shivani, this is, like Boria pointed out, a massive blow to Srinivasan because, all along the BCCI's defense has been that, since it's basically Gurunath Mayappan, who's been involved, Mr. Srinivasan, the president of the BCCI, has been saying that he is merely a relative and he cannot be held accountable for it. Now for the Supreme Court and to come out and say that Srinivasan should step aside, the political machinations might just begin. I'm at the BCCI headquarters right now, and it's a quiet place as we speak. But we remember the course of action, the activities that one could see last year when the whole issue came to light. We saw a series of resignations. At the time, there were those who spoke about the moral issue as well on the board president, and all of that could begin. Remember, there's another case where Lalit Modi, has come up, successful in the RC elections, and that result is pending the court order. So, there could be a lot of political activity within the corridors of the BCCI. Srinivasan at the moment has all along had the numbers. With him losing that moral high ground, there could be a lot of political activity within the BCCI following this Supreme Court order.
Let's put this story in perspective first for our viewers. It is very easy to say the Supreme Court has said this or so and so. Let's put it in perspective. The perspective is simple. The Supreme Court has said two things. One, it has said that the BCCI president should step aside or step down for fair investigation. Two key words here: step down, fair investigation. Step down means the BCCI president cannot officiate in his capacity as president anymore, should take the moral responsibility for a fair probe and release the chair of the president of the BCCI with immediate effect. Two, fair investigation means, and this is the most important highlight, fair investigation means the Supreme Court is not happy with the existing scenario of the IPL. What is the Supreme Court trying to say? Trying to read between the lines. Supreme Court wants a fair trial into the spot fixing and match fixing allegations that Justice Mudgal was alluding to in his report. Now this is massive. Spot fixing and match fixing into what? The match that was under the scanner, which headlines today has been breaking for the last 1.5 months with repeated effect from exclusive transcripts based on exclusive interviews that we have conducted over the last month and a half, involves the Chennai Super Kings and the Rajasthan Royals, which means that these two teams will straight away come under the scanner, and brand IPL has been sullied to no effect. Now, the question is, one, will the BCCI go against the orders of the highest judiciary of the land? Two, can the BCCI afford to do that? If the BCCI does that, what impact will it have on brand IPL with the tournament about to start 20 days from now? Three, and very, very importantly, Silence is golden has been the mantra of the BCCI so far. Will we see political head honchos who are fighting a national election in the name of corruption stand up and say, will they accept the diktat or the verdict given by the Supreme Court? I think this has been one of the most significant days ever in the echelons of Indian cricket, when the highest judiciary of the land has pronounced a verdict asking for the BCCI president to step down to protect the sanctity of this game. The important thing here is, and once again, Headlines Today will bring you live exclusive details of several discussions that have gone on behind the scenes, what has happened over the last month and a half, what impact the IPL verdict will have on Indian cricket, on the BCCI and on the IPL brand. Yesterday, I'm also joined by my colleague Shivani in the studio. Shivani, the most important factor that is coming out from this is what Lalit Modi said yesterday exclusively to Headlines Today, what we have been saying over the last month and a half, that finally the judiciary had to intervene.
This was the day that we were all waiting for, and in fact everybody that we spoke to had already established that all the pressure on N. Srinivasan hasn't worked so far. There were issues of propriety, of probity, the fact that he stepped aside and set up a BCCI probe committee, all of that had been rubbished by authorities after authorities. The Mumbai court rubbished their probe, internal probe, and the whole thing about N. Srinivasan stepping aside on his own and then coming back was all lambasted. Now the judiciary has stepped in, the apex court has stepped in, and it has clearly asked N. Srinivasan to step down, not just step aside, to step down from his position as the president of the BCCI if anything fair is supposed to happen as far as this saga is concerned. Remember, N. Srinivasan only a few weeks ago even came in line to become the ICC president, the first ICC chairman. So this whole thing is going to be a huge blow for N. Srinivasan, and perhaps this is exactly what fans were waiting to hear, because it had been clear over the last 1 year that unless some things are changed, nothing is going to change on ground. Rasesh Mandani is still with us. Rasesh, you are at the BCCI headquarters, and that place is going to turn into a fish market, if I can say that, in just a few minutes from now. Such is the enormity of this order that has come from the Supreme Court.
Yes, a very crucial point you pointed out, Shivani, about the fact that this has got not ramifications just on Indian cricket but world cricket as well, because N. Srinivasan is set to take over as the chairman of the ICC very soon. And why was that happening? That was because he was in a position to use that power that he enjoys in the BCCI. Now he's clearly under the dock with the Supreme Court order, and it's an extremely difficult situation for him now for him to hold on to the post. Another point that Boria pointed out about
my colleague is joining us from the Supreme Court. He's the one bringing us updates from there. Just Kirat, get us up to date on what happened inside the court today.
Oh, very interestingly, now, first thing we need to understand is this is not yet an order, but it is almost an order. It's like an ultimatum which has been given to Srinivasan. He's been told, step down as the president of BCCI, or we will pass the order for you to step down. The next date of hearing has been now deferred to day after tomorrow. It's been adjourned till day after tomorrow. But the Supreme Court seemed vividly upset at the findings of the sealed envelope. Without revealing the contents of the sealed envelope, they pretty much emphasized on what is the implication of what is mentioned in the sealed envelope. What they told the lawyer for BCCI is that not as a paid lawyer for BCCI or N. Srinivasan, but as a law officer, look at the contents of this envelope and tell us if you still think that Srinivasan should continue as the president for the conduct of a fair and free investigation in the IPL spot fixing matter.
Right, just two very important things you're saying here. First thing, that this could be an ultimatum on the BCCI. That means it's going to be binding on the BCCI. If Srinivasan doesn't step aside on his own, then in 2 days or whenever in a time frame, Supreme Court could pass an order and actually make it binding on the BCCI. And the second important thing you're saying is about the sealed envelope. And the Supreme Court being extremely upset with the findings. Will it ever reveal it? Please tell us more now.
Well, it does seem likely that eventually the findings of the sealed envelope may come out. Now, although the BCCI tried to ask the Supreme Court not to reveal the findings, they've been insisting on that for the past couple of hearings. suggesting that it will harm the reputation of some of the very important personalities and sportsmen in the country without any actual proper police investigation. However, the Supreme Court, finding the contents of that sealed envelope important enough,